Hello and welcome to another episode of Health Digest, a program that keeps you informed with the latest news, analysis and development concerning your health and well-being. I'm Ogom Ezedimbu. On today's program, our focus is on infertility, a condition affecting millions of people worldwide, and we'll be exploring its causes, societal impacts and the various treatment options available to individuals and couples navigating this difficult journey. But first, let's take a look at some health news.
The Nigerian government at all levels will need to prioritize and increase budgetary allocations to nutrition intervention if the country must overcome the burden of malnutrition in the country. Some nutrition experts said this during a meeting in Abuja to strengthen the implementation of the National Multi-Sectoral Plan of Action for Food and Nutrition.
Central to this plan is the improvement of maternal, infant and young child nutrition, MYCIN, enhanced food security, micronutrient control, and the integration of nutrition across all sectors. The plan also emphasizes the need for strengthened governance, accountability, and multi-sector, multi-stakeholder coordination.
Other speakers acknowledged that the Nigerian government have launched initiatives to address nutrition issues, but funding and implementation challenges persist. The participants also encouraged nursing mothers on exclusive breastfeeding, at least for the first 6 months of life, and continuous breastfeeding until 2 years, with adequate complementary feeding. Akwa Ibom State government is to ensure that all corporate organizations provide insurance cover for their staff. Governor Umar Eno stated this at the launch of Akwa Ibom State Health Insurance Scheme, Arise Care in Oyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital.
I've undertaken to pay 180 million naira, covering all staffs, all civil servants from levels 1 to 6. Those are the junior cadre. We don't need to touch their money, at least for the first year. Let them enjoy it. And when they see that it works, they will willingly register for the next year.
The governor stated emphatically that the management of the scheme will be held to account, as it will not be business as usual.
Let me say this very clearly to the chairman and all of the people in this agency. Make no mistake, please, this agency must continue to exude credibility and accountability. Make no mistake that you will be audited. I'm going to appoint one of the best auditing firms in this country and put them to monitor your work and to monitor the things you are doing.
The chairman of the board of the scheme, Edikon Ekwere, in giving an overview of the scheme, pointed out the 3 segments captured.
Plus, over 80% is engaged in informal economic activities. This plan provides a flexible payment structure to accommodate artisans, traders, farmers, and other self-employed individuals.
The Director General of the National Health Insurance Scheme, Kelechi Ohiere, had glowing words for the governor for establishing the scheme in the state.
We have saved our best for last, and I have no doubt that Akwa Ibom State will become a reference point for many other states as they embark upon this journey.
The launch of the scheme adds to the aggressive construction of model health centers in the state, making it one of the states with the best healthcare facilities in the country. And that's it on Health News.
If you're just joining us, the program is Health Digest. Infertility is a medical condition affecting millions of people worldwide. In Nigeria, however, patients face a unique challenge. And beyond the physical and emotional toll, they must also contend with societal stigma and cultural expectations that often weigh heavily on their shoulders. Health Digest today will bring you a special story of resilience. One woman has chosen to break the silence and share her journey through infertility, shedding light on the harsh judgment she encountered and her determination to rise above it. In the privacy of her home, Valerie's voice trembles as she recounts a 7-year struggle with infertility. Her pain wasn't just physical, it was emotional and deeply rooted in societal pressure. For years, Valerie endured the unkind words and whispers behind her back. People blamed her, questioned her worth as a wife, and even distanced themselves from her.
I was pregnant before my wedding on October 25th. By Tuesday, after October 25th, I had a miscarriage. So I never thought about waiting or it was going to take that long. The first year, when I was celebrating my first year anniversary, I was so excited that I was married 1 year, you know. And then I got a call for somebody that was supposed to be close to me and said, "Oh, Valerie, when I was celebrating my first year anniversary, I went to the church with my 3-month-old child." It didn't really strike. It was in the evening of that same day. And I said, what does she mean? What does she mean? You know what it means for you to go to the hospital, you know that something is wrong, and they are telling you nothing is wrong. It is well. We are getting to the 5th year. It was that same period, a colleague of mine, when I pass, she will say, "Omo Lasho." I like looking good always. It is not good for you to look like your challenges. So I like looking good. She will just say, "Omo Lasho." I stay in Lagos. I was in Lagos at that time, but I didn't think it to be anything till the day my husband came to the office and said, this particular lady now said, "Omo Lasho." And I said, "Omo Lasho, picking her clothes." He now said, "No, not just picking her clothes. It means that you are not yet a woman, because children are the clothes that a woman puts on." That was when he really, really hits me that you've been married for so long, you don't have a child. I felt terrible. I felt pained. That was when I now start realizing some comments that people put across to you when you're just discussing normally. I cried that day till there was no more tears left for me. It was raining. I was sweating. I was weeping. I was wailing. Thank God for my mother that day, because my mother stood by me and said, "I gave birth to you. I will be alive. You will give birth and I will carry your children."
According to medical experts, infertility is the inability to conceive a child after trying for at least 1 year of regular unprotected intercourse. It can affect both men and women and may result from a variety of medical conditions, lifestyle factors, or unexplained reasons. Yet, in Nigeria, the emotional toll is intensified by cultural expectations.
At that point, all you have is God. You just hold on to your faith. As in, bang, bang, giddy, bang. You hold on to God. You hold him on. And there was this song I was singing then. It was my national anthem. I was telling God, you can never share your glory with anybody. I will cry, I will say it. I will smile, I will say it. There was a time in 2009, May, to be precise. Is it May? April, first week of April, we went for a naming ceremony. We were all dancing, and they played one of my favorite songs, the A Alaji, Alaji. So I was really, really dancing because I was very slim. I put on my jeans, as I was dancing. Somebody very close to me tapped me at the shoulder. I turned and I looked at the person, and the person said, Valerie, you're always dancing people's naming ceremony. When will your naming ceremony come? That one really, really, really shook me. I said, don't worry. If God is God and God is one, the next naming ceremony will be in my house. I left the occasion that day. As I was driving home, I told God, what is it that I have done that has made you not answer me? That was the peak of it. I got up that day. I cried for over 7 days, non-stop. I wasn't drinking water. I wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't doing anything. I just went to walk because I needed to be out. I wasn't fasting. I wasn't praying. I was just questioning God. Then, after I passed that phase, it was a very difficult phase. After I passed that phase, I told God that I was not going to church again. I was not going to worship Him. I was not going to pray. I was not going to read my Bible. I packed my Bible. I packed everything. I said, God, do whatever you think you can do. I left it all.
In women, causes of infertility may include problems with ovulation, fallopian tube damage, or uterine conditions. In men, infertility often stems from low sperm count, poor sperm mobility, or other issues with sperm production. In Africa, women are often seen as the sole bearers of the responsibility to conceive, leaving them to shoulder the burden of guilt when things don't go as planned. In Nigeria, between 25 to 30% of couples of reproductive age struggle with infertility, but experts believe the figures could be higher due to the silence and shame surrounding the issue.
I was pregnant before my
For
wedding.
Valerie, the stigma was sometimes worse than the condition itself. But now, after years, she's speaking up, not just for herself, but for the countless women facing the same judgment.
And after then, I went for an occasion. I was in May 9th, 2009. Then the doctor I was using then gave me an appointment for 12th of May that year. I went, they did scan, blood and everything. And I said, Valerie, you were pregnant. I was like, it didn't make any sense to me. And I like, if you are pregnant, there are some symptoms that you should feel. I wasn't feeling anything. When they said you were pregnant, I was like, I was pregnant. He said, yeah, I said, okay. I just started crying. Then there was a song that came to me. There's this song, come and join me, sing hallelujah. Jehovah Jireh has done me well. Then just there and then, I started feeling all the pregnancy symptoms. Everything just came at that moment. And I was like, I didn't feel anything before this meaning, so why now? So that was how I knew that I was pregnant, and I took up the journey from there.
Consultant gynecologist and fertility expert Dr. Philip Ekbe says the Valerie's experience is not uncommon. Many women bear the brunt of society's harsh treatment, even though infertility can affect both men and women. Dr. Ekbe explains that there are several treatment options available, from medications to assist reproductive technologies such as IVF, but it also stresses the need for emotional support.
Well, treatment option strictly, first of all, is that first the patient has to be qualified. In other words, they must have been married and have stayed for over 1 year. However, if a woman is already 35 years when she was getting married, we want to not actively manage that patient. We don't want to wait till she's 1 year, probably after 3 months or 6 months, such person. So if a woman is already 40, as she's getting married, I think she should start seeing the gynecologist to make sure that she quickly have her children. Why are we referring to woman? Because woman clock is timed. By the age of 45, 46, 47, they could get into menopause. And all the eggs a woman needed in her life was placed inside her when she was in her mother's womb. So you can imagine that eggs have lived on through the pregnancy, through infancy, childhood, teenage, and all the rest of them. So that egg, as a woman gets older, the egg gets bad. It's just like what happened to normal eggs that we buy. You buy egg in January, you don't expect that egg will still be the same by the time you get to December. It will have spoiled. So that is why we make reference to woman. It's not the same for man, because man manufactures sperm, like every 70 days. So that's why you can see a man of 65, 70 getting somebody pregnant, but it's difficult to see a woman of 50 or even above 45 getting pregnant on her own. You understand? So these are the things we look at. And so when the woman has said, I've met up these definitions and variations I've mentioned, then she needs to see a gynecologist. Then they have to do a detailed evaluation of both couple. First the man, then followed by the woman. Then all the investigations they are doing is for the man, you want to see the quality of the sperm. If they're adequate and okay, then that is fine. That means the sperm that is going to fertilize the eggs are at least good enough. But if they're not adequate, you understand, you have to look at the parameters and probably investigate further. And such women may require treatment. There are several options to that treatment. Though the treatment for male infertility is a little bit rudimentary. It's not so much these days, because the reason being that men have not been presenting themselves in the infertility clinic. So we have positive data to use to make research for male infertility. That is why when it comes to male infertility, most of the time, quite a lot of time, could lead to IVF, because especially if a man has what they call azoospermia. If it's not azoospermia due to obstruction, most likely that patient may end up having IVF, because there's no amount of drug you're going to give out to make the sperm to just boost to the normal. It may improve, but that improvement may not be adequate to get for him to get the woman pregnant spontaneously or naturally. You understand? So after investigating the man, you also now investigate the woman. What are you investigating? You want to check her uterus to see, does she have fibroid? Does she have endometriosis? Does she have adenomyosis and the rest of them? You want to check the tubes and the cervix if they are all open. So you do what they call HSG, or some places you do some places you can do what they call laparoscopy and dye test. But that is quite up there. So the basic thing we want to do is HSG. But there are other newer investigations, where ultrasound studies, where they inject fluid through the cervix and using ultrasound to know if the tubes is open. Then you also do hormonal profile to see if the woman is ovulating properly. These are some of the basic investigations. There are so many other investigations that can be done. But for the layman and for people who are talking to out there, these are investigations that have to be done. Having done the investigation, you're able to identify the cause and advise the patient, counsel them appropriately, and then take a route of treatment. Your treatment will be based on what you find. If for instance, the man's sperm is not adequate, pushing the woman too far will not be good enough, because you need to get the man's sperm to be okay before you begin to treat the woman. Basically, there are basic, simple treatment, while there are more advanced treatment, from just mere even counseling a patient, because being not meeting during ovulation period, to giving some few basic drugs for ovulation induction and timed intercourse, and then you can move to what they call intrauterine insemination and IVF. And these days I'm sure you're hearing of IVF, ICSI, surrogacy, egg donation, sperm donation, embryo donation, and surrogacy, all of them.
Both Valerie and Dr. Ekwe are calling on the government to intervene by making fertility treatments more accessible to all Nigerians. The cost of treatment is often out of reach for many, leaving families with few options.
it is not cheap. It's quite expensive, all this investigation. So infertility also is an economic problem, and is something that for those who are poor, the indigents, is very difficult to manage them because they don't have financial adequacy. And that is why, quite a lot of us are advocating that government should come into it to include it in the insurance cover. You understand? Even the insurance cover, I will tell you the truth. If it is like the general insurance by NHIS, is not going to be adequate. Maybe it's a private insurance. But even at that, private insurance also frown at it because they still have not come to terms with the fact that infertility is a disease. After all, a state of good health is a state of both physical and mental well-being. It's not entirely just government including them in insurance. You understand what I'm saying? But also these advocacies can also help to reduce the stigmatization associated with infertility. But like I said, it's very, very expensive. Infertility is very difficult, for a poor person to be involved with and pay for it. You understand? The manual infertility is all expensive, and it takes time. You sit down with a patient. It's not what you sit down with a patient for 2-3 minutes. 30 minutes or 1 hour trying to find out what's the problem. You have to support that patient psychologically, mentally. You have to be empathic. You understand? People to achieve the result at the end of the day.
The first thing I will tell anybody, and even myself, and even you, when you meet a woman that has not given birth and she's married, please and please and please, I'll beg you, don't side talk to woman. Don't just show her love, because even if your husband, your in-laws, friends, they don't talk to you, you don't hear what they say, they don't treat you, you'll be tormenting yourself. So I say to anybody, if you see a woman or you are with a woman that's been married, that is looking forward to the fruit of the womb, believing God for the fruit of the womb, if she slaps you, hug her. Because the journey, it's not easy. The journey is not easy. I only tell everybody, pray for women that have not given birth, that are willing to have children. I don't know how to say it that will not break me, but just show every woman that is looking up to God for the fruit of the womb. Give them the best love that you have not given yourself. Give them the best love, because they are hurting inside. They are going through a lot. Some of them are going through depression, which they don't even know. Their hormones are declining by the day because they are aging by the second. So they need that love. They need love. I think we need NGOs that will take women in that have not given birth and they've been married for at least a year, having sex or having sex regularly, 3-4 times a week, and they've not taken in at the end of a year. We should have an NGO where they should have free medical treatment, if possible, free IVF for them. The government, the higher mountains, there's no need for me to start mentioning names, to do that for women. Women need it. Some of them, they don't have the 20,000 naira to buy the kind of drugs they need. I don't have the right to start mentioning drugs. There are some drugs that is as cheap as 5,000 naira. These women don't even know they need to take it. That will help them. So we need NGOs, we need people that will come out and assist women that are looking up to God for the fruit of the womb.
For women like Valerie, the journey towards motherhood is more than just medical. It's about resilience, faith, and fighting against the stigma that has long weighed them down. As more women like Valerie share their stories, the hope is that stigma surrounding infertility will begin to fade. And that's our focus on infertility for today's episode of Health Digest. Remember, if you or someone you know is struggling with infertility, you're not alone. There are medical solutions and support networks available to help. The journey may be difficult, but with the right support, we can break the silence and stigma surrounding infertility. Keep the faith and stay hopeful, and together we can pave the way for greater understanding and empathy. I'm Ogom Ezedimu. To stay safe.